Derbyites, we are back for episode 5 of season 5 of your favourite show, Outlander, on your favourite website with your favourite senior editor, Rob Licuria. I'm here with Paula Sullivan-Licuria. Welcome back.
Hi.
We're here to talk about the episode that has just aired on Starz in the US. It was called, sorry, I didn't have it in front of me, Perpetual Adoration. I'll read out what the synopsis of this episode is. Jamie and his militia arrive at Hillsborough to learn that Governor Tryon has proposed a rather unorthodox solution to deal with the threat posed by the regulators and to resolve the growing political crisis. Jamie is forced to take drastic action when his relationship to Murtagh is at risk of coming to light. Busy with the present-day life at the Ridge, Roger and Brianna must nevertheless come to terms with their past when Roger learns their new information about Stephen Bonnet. Claire recalls an episode from her past that led her back to Jamie. The episode was written by Alison Evans and Steve Kornacki and was directed beautifully by Mira Menon. So I thought this was a pretty good episode. There were some really strong parts and some other parts that were just kind of standard for me. What were your thoughts?
Okay. I really have no idea where to start with this episode. There is just so much to unpack. Okay, so let's start off with Jamie. Who doesn't want to start off with Jamie?
Everyone wants to know with Jamie, basically.
Basically. So, all right, so, and hashtag everybody loves Murtagh. So let's start with that thing. And don't forget, in the books, Murtagh is no longer with us. So I found like this storyline fascinating. We did the whole, I've even actually read up on it, like on page 341. It mentions the stand down of the militia. It is only a couple of sentences, but don't forget, Derbyites, I am skimming it. So I can try and keep up with the episodes. Now, this particular episode does tend to jump backwards and forwards through the book, and I'll explain that a little bit later on. So, but I really liked the way they handled the regulators and they intertwined Murtagh into it. And even more so the way Jamie handles the possible oh my God moment with the lieutenant. I forget his last name, but he's in his room. I'm sure someone will remind us. Forgive me. So the fact that he orders these prisoner sheets, prisoner listings, and he confesses and then proceeds to kill the guy. I was like, okay, so not in the book, but loving the connection. And I love how the way Jamie handled it. And I love how it came back to the theme of loyalty and the fact that this book is a lot about Jamie being between two fires, as the name of one of the previous episodes was. So where does Jamie stand? Does he have his loyalty to the militia and the army that he's written and signed an oath to, or his family and that he so rightly admits to he's had since he was a boy? I loved it. I thought it was great. And like I said, hashtag everybody loves Murtagh. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it. And then
just to interrupt you there, sorry, just to stay on the militia regulator storyline. I've never really made it a mystery that I'm not a huge fan of that side of this season. It's like my probably least favourite storyline, but I must say it is saved by the angle that the producers and writers and directors have introduced with bringing Murtagh in. That gives it definitely gives me a care factor that I may not have had at all. And of course, like Sam Heughan is really doing a great job in bringing it all together. You really do kind of have an emotional stake in what he's doing, because he's so effective at kind of demonstrating that push-pull that he has between his loyalty to one side and, of course, his devotion to his family and his best mate. So that's really interesting, and I think it's going in the right direction. But the beauty of that is, as you have touched on, it's not really covered in the book. And even if it is, we don't know how close they're going to stay to what it is actually captured in the book, which is really interesting and something that we can look forward to.
Yeah, and like, I mean, you know, out in the internet world, you know, there are a lot of people who are very much like, you know, this type of project can be very divisive. You know, some people are like, no, and throw their arms up and go, oh my gosh, this is good. Be faithful to the book, everything like that. And whereas I like to appreciate both mediums for what they are. I appreciated the book when I read it, but now I'm watching the TV show. I appreciate it for what it is, and I love how they have changed it up, included things, taken things out. So I agree with you wholeheartedly in regards to the regulators. I don't think I would care so much if we didn't have that push-pull effect between Murta and Jamie. For me, it would be just like another wartime storyline. It's also probably because you and I, being Australians, we have no historical context to that type of, what's the word for it? I don't know, but you know what I'm getting at.
Okay.
But before we go on, slight segue, while we're on Jamie, can we just say, Adzo's in. For all those people who love little furry animals just like me, Adzo has finally joined the cast. That's the cat, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's right. You did squeal.
I did squeal. And this goes to the whole jumping backwards and forwards in the book. So the stand down of the militia is on like page 341, and then Adzo is actually introduced on page 185. So we are jumping around. This episode was a bit jumpy in regards to the book. So, but that's cool. We have Adzo. Yay. Bring him in. Love him. Little cute, very grey-faced. So, Adzo. That, Jamie said, with immense satisfaction, is the present I meant to give you, Sassenach. He'll keep the vermin from your surgery. Or possibly very small vermin, I said, examining the new present dubiously. I think a large cockroach could carry him. It'll be him, off to its lair, let alone mouse. So I was really happy when Adzo finally showed up.
That's cool. There's actually, when we first were watching the episode and we see Claire in the, 60s in the church, and she's got the short hair with the, the greys and stuff. I can't remember what you said, but you did seem quite excited.
I don't remember. I think I just squealed.
Probably.
I was actually really happy because I thought we were done with jumping backwards and forwards through time. So it was great to see the flashback. I don't even think this particularly occurs in the book. So again, it was refreshing to see and to see how it worked into Claire's decision to go find Damien. If it wasn't for this particular patient, she might have just left well enough alone. So that's what I really enjoyed about it. And, like I said, I like it for the timey-wimey space jumping through time type of thing, so I really found it refreshing. And then, get to see all those really cool clothes and those costumes, and then we go back to those costumes. So, yeah, I really, really enjoyed it. It was, so far, one of my favourite episodes.
That's a big call.
I said one of. I didn't say the favourite.
What this show does sometimes with Claire is we get a lot of voiceover. So she'll be kind of explaining either the passage of time or her state of mind or something like that over a montage, and we get that quite a bit in the show. And on many shows, I would actually argue that is a really lazy way in which to tell a story. But on this show, for whatever reason, I think it really works. And actually, I'll retract for whatever reason. I actually think it's the writing. It's very, very good. But Katrina Balfe's voice and the way in which she imbues this character that I'm going to love, for some reason I can accept the voiceover in this show more than I would in other shows. And I love it how in the beginning when that voiceover started and we saw the montage of some of the really interesting parts of the seasons to date, like her at Faith's gravestone, like at the red dress in Paris, and also the stones with the sunlight going through the stones. Like they're iconic images from the show. It was a really nice touch point to go back to favourite parts of what we've loved about the show today and then bring us back into what the show is about right now. And I really, really liked that. That was probably my favourite part of the whole episode.
I think that's what I enjoyed as well about it, the fact that because it almost feels like for a couple of episodes we haven't had that monologue over the top. And I think I kind of missed it. And to actually launch into this episode with that, I was like, it was like a warm blanket, like, oh, this is Outlander. So that's what I think that's what I liked about it too. I really did enjoy that. And, you know, Claire finding penicillin and then
I love that.
Yeah, that's what snowballed everything.
The Eureka. Yeah, that was cool. I really enjoyed that. I think that's the best part of the show, actually, at the moment. I'm not putting down the Regulator storyline because I know that it's probably going to end well and it's going to kind of culminate in something quite climactic, but I really love this Claire stuff, like her medicine woman stuff. I just think that's really cool. There was one other thing I was going to talk about, and then I'll kind of let you finish up because I'm sure you've got other things you wanted to raise. But I want to talk about the character of Stephen Bonnet, and I want to give some credit to Ed Spielers because I think he's really, really good as the villain because he's really multi-dimensional. He's not the moustache-twirling villain that we would expect on a show like this one, where it's about, you know, people in a certain time period where they kind of dress and speak in a certain way. This guy's really interesting to me, and Ed Spielers is doing a very, very good job. I think underrated as Stephen Bonnet, and I just think, and I want to see more of him. I actually want to see more Stephen Bonnet. That tells me something, but I actually really enjoy the character.
I know, and like you. Again, I think it comes down to the writing because if an actor is doing their job well as a villain, the viewers will hate them or dislike them. You know, we disliked Black Jack. But the difference between Black Jack and Bonnet is, I don't know, Bonnet's a bit more sneaky about his dark side, but then, you know, he's got this possible softness about him that he thinks that Jemmy is his son, and, you know, gives Brianna I think it's a sapphire for her to help raise Jemmy because he thinks he's his son. And so I really like that. You're right. I like that dimension. And as much as I like to see a villain get their comeuppance, you're right. I can't wait to see more of Ed Spielers as Stephen Bonnet. He does such a great job.
So unfortunately we're running out of time, but do you have anything else that you wanted to touch on before we say goodbye to everybody until next week?
No, I think we sort of did the whole Stephen Bonnet thing, and like, Roger having to deal with the fact that, that little emotional period where Brianna didn't reassure him that Jamie was his son, but told Bonnet. I feel for the guy. Roger is a man who's out of time and out of place, and even he himself said he's trying to figure out his own way in this world. And for someone who doesn't, and we've mentioned before, someone who doesn't know how to hunt or be in a militia, he feels at a loss. And then to find that his wife is telling her rapist that the son could be hers, you could see it, like the look on Richard Rankin's face. It cut Roger, and he showed that so well in his facial expressions. I couldn't believe it. So I thought it was beautifully well done, and I think that sort of wraps up nearly every element of the episode.
Roger is a sexy guy, and we love him.
Yeah, he's so cute.
So look, everybody, wait till you see what's in store for next week, because I do have like a little blurb about what the episode's about. It looks like it's going to be really good. So stick with us at Gold Derby. We have plenty more Outlander coverage to come as per usual, because it is, quite frankly, the best show on TV.
Sure.
And thank you so much for joining us. And look, I also really highly look forward to reading all your comments and feedback. If you've got any questions or anything you'd like us to talk about in particular, don't hesitate to comment down below, and make sure you click subscribe so you can watch all of our chats, and we'll see you next week.